Comic book and superhero films have been struggling of late. There's no denying it. We've all kind of seen it happen slowly. They were doing great for quite some time there, and then over the past probably 5-ish years, they hadn't been doing so well. But it seems like DC Comics might be on a comeback where the Penguin show has just come out, and it's doing gangbusters. People are freaking loving it. I just watched it last night, and it blew my mind. And now, granted, that's part of the Batman universe, which is separate from even what is happening with DC Studios and the overall idea for this rebranding of all the DC universe, which brings me to the Green Lantern show, which is called Green Lanterns from what I gather, and this is going to be another show on Max similar to Penguin, and there's a lot of news slowly starting to come out. I haven't talked about it on this channel, and I kind of just want to get into the nitty-gritty of what we are looking at with this show. We have 2 Lanterns cast now, and one was announced just today. So let's go ahead and talk about it. As always, make sure to throw us that subscribe, give us some comments and some likes. It helps our channel out a ton. And if you want to stay on top of whatever is happening in the entertainment industry and the news going on, make sure to follow this channel because I'm among the first to cover it, and I'm talking about a lot of things that many people aren't. So go ahead and give us that sub and visit crickless.com. We are an entertainment reviewing platform. You can also find us in the Android and Apple app stores. But moving on into this news that I wanted to talk about, which is that we have casting news for the DC Universe Green Lanterns show. So the news here is that Kyle Chandler has actually been cast as one of our titular Lanterns. Now, this show, if you don't know, is kind of an interesting approach to the Green Lantern universe as a whole because this hasn't really been done before. Over our lifetimes, we've seen multiple different Green Lanterns. Like I mentioned, there was Hal Jordan, who was the one that Ryan Reynolds played. But then we also, like growing up in the cartoons, we had John Stewart, who was another one of the Green Lanterns. So there are multiple different humans over the years that have played Green Lanterns, and there are going to be 3 in this film, and Kyle Chandler is going to be playing one of them. So what Forbes is reporting here, it says, while we've just seen one DC series arrive to great success on HBO, The Penguin, DC is now getting ready for another one, this time planted inside the DCU. Kyle Chandler has been hired to play Hal Jordan, last seen as Ryan Reynolds in the infamous CGI-suited Green Lantern movie in 2011 and the upcoming Lantern series. That was one of the biggest beefs with the Ryan Reynolds movie, is that his entire suit was CG and it looked really, really bad. Just Hollywood, please stop doing CG suits. We don't like them. So what it says here is Chandler, of course, is most well known for his role as Coach Taylor in Friday Night Lights, but he's had plenty of solid roles since, including Netflix's Bloodline, which I highly recommend. If you have never seen Bloodline on Netflix, that show is awesome. It's wild. He does an excellent job, and it's where he really got on my radar, and I think he's an excellent actor, especially after seeing that show. And then he's also been in 2 of the new Godzilla films. He says now he'll step into the superheroic role and arguably one of the biggest in the DC universe. We already have another Lantern cast, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, who will appear in the upcoming Superman movie in a supporting role. So that's the part of this news, is that he's going to be paired with Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion is going to be playing Guy Gardner, this version of Green Lantern, who is kind of dubbed as the most annoying and obnoxious Green Lantern, who had a really terrible haircut for quite some time. And actually, there were some leaked photos of him from this new Superman film. I'm about to show them, so if you don't want a spoiler for the new Superman film, don't look. And obviously, this hasn't been touched up after post and all that stuff, but we did get a look at him, which is right here. So here is his suit, which I do really like, and he's got the reddish, longer hair, and it works fairly well. And it kind of looks like that character. I think the suit's pretty cool looking, and it does kind of line up with some of the versions of the suit, but they are going with the more white one in these photos. Actually, here's another one that from the leaked images that shows Hawkgirl as well. So I'm interested to see him play this character, but what's really interesting is his age and also the age of this new version of Hal Jordan, who they've cast Kyle Chandler for, because Kyle Chandler is close to 60 if I'm not mistaken, and then Nathan Fillion is somewhere in his 50s as well. So both of these guys are older actors, so it's clear that these aren't going to be the mainstay, like primary Green Lantern. It's actually going to be the younger Green Lantern, who's going to be John Stewart. And John Stewart is notoriously, he was one of DC's very first black superheroes, and they kind of tout him as that, and he was super cool as a kid. We really liked this version, and I've always been down and game to see this version of the Green Lantern, because each of them obviously are totally different people with different career paths. And the whole thing with the Green Lanterns is that whatever they can imagine, whatever they can think up, can be created into reality with their magical space ring, because they are magical space cops. And so when you have these different versions of these characters, they manifest different things and do other cool things with the ring. So Hal Jordan was a pilot, and then Gardner, I don't know, he's always shown with this baseball bat. I don't know his deal. And honestly, when it comes to Green Lantern in general, I'm not a wealth of knowledge. I know surface level, but that's about it. But what it says is the HBO Lantern show is meant to channel True Detective, and the idea is that an older, grizzled Lantern reluctantly mentors a younger upstart as they investigate a murder on Earth, space cops becoming normal cops for a time, it seems. So they're kind of making this a more Earth-centric story and doing this whole, you know, True Detective vibe. And it sounds like, I saw somewhere, I don't think it was in this article, they were talking about it possibly taking place in the Midwest as well. So we've got these 3 different Green Lanterns. There's going to be an interesting dynamic with this. And I think that it's kind of a cool approach for a show. And this kind of all points back to the fact that they've had this big shakeup over at DC, and they're trying to do really different things. And it seems like there's some people kind of trying to fan cast Aaron Pierre from Rebel Ridge, which I've heard really good things about, and I think he could definitely be a good choice for this, and they're going to have to go with someone younger. But it just really did surprise me that they're going with these older guys for these other Green Lantern characters. And so this casting news is interesting at the very least. And another thing that they point out here is that supposedly Josh Brolin just recently turned down this role, so it apparently pivoted over to Chandler, which I'm fine with. And it would have been interesting to see Josh Brolin in something like this, but it makes sense that he wouldn't necessarily take it on. And it is sounding like people are speculating that at the very least, this character, even though the most popular and most well-known, this John Stewart version of Green Lantern, they're wondering if he might not even last through this series. And I would not be surprised if the same happens for the Gardner character, simply because they're going to make our main primary Lantern be this John Stewart version of Green Lantern. So I think that this is pretty interesting news and pretty exciting. Another little bit I saw when I was doing my digging is that they're doing what they're doing with a lot of the new shows now, which is that they're billing them as HBO shows, not Max shows. Even though they're going to launch on both platforms at the same time, it does get a wee bit confusing. But it sounds like they're on the right path. DC is doing the right things right now. If this is anywhere close to the quality level of Penguin, then I am all on board for more DC-centric shows in this new DC universe. So this could be really cool, and it does sound like a good way to bring the John Stewart character into this world without having to give him a film, and they can start doing more of the Justice League type stuff, and it's not going to feel so rushed and shoehorned in like with Zack Snyder's Justice League, which just got handled not very well. We also didn't get a Green Lantern in that version of the DC universe, and I'm wondering if not only maybe we get Green Lantern, but before too long get a new version of the Green Arrow as well, which could be really cool. I hope that this future of this DC franchise does well, because I'm all for superhero movies continuing on and comic book ones and continuing to do well, because I love the genre. I think the whole fatigue thing is a bit of a myth. It's more about just quality storytelling. It hasn't been happening in this medium for a little bit, or at least it's been very infrequent at best. So I'm excited about this Kyle Chandler news. Let me know down in the comments what you think, and what you think about the show in general. I think the idea of it sounds pretty fun. So yeah, just throw it down in the comments down below. And as always, do the commenting, subscribing, hop on Criticless, drop us a review. Maybe give us a review for Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie. That would be fun. I don't want to go back and watch it, so I'll let you guys do that. But anyways, I'll be back here again for the news tomorrow. You guys take it easy. Later.